Stirring Scenes in the Early Days of Yellville, Arkansas by S.C. Turnbo. 2 miles west of Yellville, Arkansas, where the Yellville and Harrison wagon road passes over a bluff, is a pretty view of Crooked Creek. Nature scenery, including farm and farmhouses, is delightful to the eye. This bird's-eye view of the charming valley of Crooked Creek is a sample of the magnificent scenery of the wooded hills and the fine farms found along this noted stream. Here on this bluff, where the iron horses of the White River branch of the Missouri Pacific Railroad passes along at full speed, which reminds us that no country is so rough that a railroad cannot be constructed through it. In this part of the valley, as viewed from the wagonway or the railroad, is where Josiah Bancom and Priscilla, his wife, located in 1845. Among Bancom's children is Dave, who was 8 years old when his parents came to Marion County and first saw the beautiful waters of Crooked Creek. Now, he was born in Murray County, Tennessee in 1837, and when the war broke out in 1861, Dave took sides with the South and cast his lot with the lost cause. As the war went on, Dave Bancom proved to be an excellent teamster. He was so skillful in this line that he was promoted to the rank of regimental wagon master, which is a responsible position. He had the confidence of officers and men, and he was claimed to be one of the best wagon masters in the Trans-Mississippi Department. While our brigade, which was commanded by General J.C. Tappan, was on detachment in Louisiana, the men of our regiment knew that the wagon train would reach camp promptly each night as long as Dave Bancom had charge of them and the enemy had not captured them. In relating accounts of Yellville and vicinity, Mr. Bancom says that his father, on his arrival on Crooked Creek, rented land of Jesse Wickersham, son of Daniel Wickersham. Now, Daniel was living on Mill Creek 1 mile south of Yellville. John Wickersham, brother of Jesse, was selling groceries in Yellville and when we arrived, and John Martin and Jesse Wickersham owned a partnership store at Yellville. Jim Wilson was selling goods there, too. Mike Mathis lived 1/2 mile below town. Dave Stennett lived on what is now the William Wilkerson Farm, 1 3/4 miles west of Yellville. John Powell lived on Crooked Creek on what is now Tom Davenport land. John Rose owned a little mill on Greasy Creek, and Billy Brown, who was afterward made sheriff, was killed near the village of Dubuque while acting in the discharge of his duty. He lived 7 miles west of Yellville. All these names mentioned were here before we arrived or near about the time we did. Now, my father was present when the bloody battle occurred in Yellville, between the Everetts on one side and the Kings on the other. Now, Yellville was a small village then, but it was a noted rendezvous for settlers far and near, and on this particular day the fight occurred, a big crowd had collected. Among them were the Everetts and Kings, accompanied by their friends. At one time during the day, said Mr. Bancom, when both sides were ready for battle, a violent whirlwind swept through the village, collecting a great cloud of dust. The force of the wind was so strong that several hats and caps were sent whirling into the air, and the men scattered for the time. Now, the cloud storm that accompanied the wind was an ugly one, and the blow had even developed into a minimum tornado. Soon after the storm had passed on its way to the northeast, the men assembled together again, and the quarrel was renewed, which culminated in a battle the same day. Sim and Bart Everett were killed. Jack King was desperately wounded and died the following day. Jim King, he was slightly wounded. A man named Watkins was wounded in the head, and another man's arm was broken. The Everetts and Kings were prominent families.